Close your eyes for a moment. Think about glory. Not fame, not attention, but true glory. The kind that outlives you. The kind that writes your name into the hearts of people, not just their feeds. But here's the brutal truth. Glory is never given. It's manifested. And only the wise ever touch it. Not the loudest, not the trendiest, the wisest. Because in a world that runs on noise, it takes wisdom to move in silence, to plant seeds when no one claps, to choose patience when everything inside you is screaming to rush. Today, I'm going to share 3 keys, not shortcuts, not hacks, but wisdom keys that unlock real glory. Let's begin. Key 1, the wisdom of timing. Knowing when to act is just as important as what to do. Let me ask you something. Have you ever felt like the universe was against you even when you were doing everything right? You had the idea, you had the passion, you stayed up late, you put in the work, and yet nothing happened. No results, no recognition, just silence. And in that silence, doubt crept in. Maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe this dream wasn't meant for me. But what if I told you, you weren't wrong, you were just early? You see, life doesn't reward the one who moves the fastest. It rewards the one who moves with wisdom. And wisdom means knowing when to move, not just how. Timing is everything. In music, even the right note played too soon or too late becomes noise. In life, the right action, done at the wrong time, can cost you years. But we don't like to wait, do we? We're wired for now. Fast food, fast answers, fast success. We scroll, we tap, we swipe, and we expect results with the same speed we consume content. But glory doesn't play by your clock. It's not found in urgency, it's found in alignment. Because here's the truth. Sometimes the opportunity is right, but you're not ready yet. Other times, you're ready, but the world isn't prepared to receive you. That's not rejection, that's protection. It's life telling you, hold on, let me get the stage ready first. But most people don't wait. They force the door open. They show up unprepared. They demand to be seen when they haven't earned the depth. And then they burn out. Not because they lacked talent, but because they lacked timing. So what does the wise person do? They listen, not to the noise of the world, but to the stillness inside. They know that silence isn't absence, it's preparation. They understand that delays aren't denials. They're divine pauses to sharpen your sword before the real battle begins. The wise don't chase moments. They prepare for them. They don't beg for the spotlight. They build themselves in the shadows. Because when the timing is right and your character is strong enough to carry your calling, you won't have to chase glory. It'll come looking for you. So don't panic when nothing is happening. Don't curse the waiting seasons. They're not empty. They're sacred. Use them. Read, learn, heal, train. Because when the moment comes, and it will, you won't just show up. You'll shine. And that is the wisdom of timing. Key 2, the wisdom of discernment. Knowing what to ignore is just as powerful as knowing what to chase. Let's get real for a second. Not every opportunity is meant to be taken. Not every voice deserves your attention. Not every open door leads to glory. One of the most dangerous traps in life is not failure. It's distraction disguised as opportunity. And that's where discernment comes in. Because wisdom isn't just about knowing what to do. It's about knowing what not to do. In a world where you're constantly bombarded by opinions, trends, options, content, people, the real battle isn't always outside you. It's the chaos within. That voice saying, try this, start that, follow them, don't get left behind. But you know what? The more noise you follow, the further you drift from your path. Discernment is the quiet voice inside that says, no, that's not for you. Not every fight needs your fire. Not every battle is your battlefield. Because when you try to be everywhere, you end up being nowhere. When you chase everything, you lose the strength to master anything. And here's the hard part. Sometimes the distraction looks just like the dream. It feels exciting. It looks profitable. But deep down, you know it's not right. That's why discernment is a superpower. It helps you separate noise from signal, hype from truth, pressure from purpose. Most people fail because they lack this filter. They say yes to everything. They get involved in battles that drain their peace. They let everyone's opinion shape their vision until they're living someone else's life, wearing a crown that doesn't fit, fighting for a glory they don't even want. But the wise, they move differently. They say no unapologetically. They protect their energy like royalty. They understand that silence is not weakness. It's strategy. They know when to walk away. They know when to stop talking. They know when to stay hidden, even when the world is screaming, show yourself. Discernment means having the guts to pause and ask, is this really for me? Is this aligned with my purpose or just feeding my ego? Will this cost me my peace, my focus, my soul? Because if something costs you your peace, it's too expensive. The wise don't just hustle blindly. They filter every move because they understand that time and energy are limited, and they refuse to waste either on things that don't serve their calling. Glory doesn't come from chasing everything. It comes from choosing what matters most and having the discipline to ignore the rest. So if you want to manifest glory, learn the wisdom of discernment. Learn to say no when the world wants you to say yes. Learn to walk away without explanation. Learn to stay focused, even when everyone else is busy being busy. Because in the end, it's not just about how far you run. It's about where you're running to. Choose your battles. Protect your focus. Honor your path. That's the wisdom that builds a life worth remembering. Key 3, the wisdom of obedience. Your destiny is on the other side of consistent, silent work. Let me tell you something the world doesn't glorify anymore. Obedience. Not blind obedience to people or systems, but obedience to the process. Obedience to the inner call. Obedience to the discipline that nobody claps for. Because here's the truth. You can have dreams. You can have vision boards. You can write down your goals in golden ink. But if you don't submit to the process, it's all noise. People want destiny. They want greatness. They want glory. But they forget that every crown is earned through sweat, silence, and sacrifice. And the one thing that separates the great from the average? Obedience. Obedience is doing what you said you'd do, long after the feeling you said it in has passed. It's showing up on the days when no one's watching. It's doing the hard thing, the boring thing, the thankless thing, without applause, without attention, without shortcuts. But here's the paradox. We want quick, we want loud, we want instant. We've been told that going viral is the goal, that visibility is success, but that's not glory. That's hype. Glory is deeper. Glory is sacred. Glory is the result of obedience when no one is watching. You want the spotlight? Earn it in the shadows. You want strength? Build it when no one is cheering. You want wisdom? Submit to the repetition, again and again, until excellence becomes your default. The world praises talent, but heaven honors obedience, because obedience is proof that you're serious. It's easy to start. Everyone can start. Starting is cheap, but only the obedient finish. Only the obedient build legacies. Only the obedient rise while others quit, because they're not moved by motivation. They're rooted in purpose. They don't need inspiration to act. They've trained their soul to move anyway. Even when it hurts, even when it's hard, even when it's lonely, even when the results are invisible. And let me tell you this, destiny doesn't respond to drama. It responds to discipline. Every moment you obey that inner voice, the one that says, keep going. You're adding bricks to a foundation that can't be shaken. Glory doesn't come overnight. It comes through obedience in the darkness, through silent, sacred labor, through daily, deliberate action, when no one is clapping and no one is noticing. But you keep going anyway. You keep sharpening anyway. You keep showing up anyway. And when the world finally sees what you built, they'll call you gifted. They'll call you lucky. But only you'll know the truth. You weren't lucky. You were obedient. And that is what manifested your glory. If you've listened this far, you're not just chasing motivation. You're chasing mastery. And that starts with wisdom. Don't forget, glory isn't a destination. It's a reflection of how deeply, how quietly, how obediently you honored your calling.